now we finished blocking in. Now let's proceed with the detailings. For that I'll just load up my train texture brush. It's a new brush, see that? It's a new brush. I'll load up some black just on one side of the brush, and let's come over right over here and start dropping in some detailings, not applying too much pressure. So now I've just taken a break from painting those greeneries and water. Let's come over here to the foreground of the path. Let's drop in some detailings, and as it's gonna go back, most probably the details will become less. Okay, something like that over there, and indicating some shadows of this trees over here, and just tapping it very lightly, decreasing the pressure. With that, just like that. Just if you want, you can just brush in one or two shadows there, and just slightly do it like that. And I find a bit of shadow over here too. Just like that. Maybe the lights come across like that. And I just go over here and drop in that same texture and detailings on this area. Just indicating something. Change the direction of the flow of the brush because this is foreground, and I'll just dab it like that. And I'll switch over to this tree on the left hand side, just giving some detailings, make them look as irregular as possible. With that, just like that, you get that natural realistic effect. And I've not cleaned the brush, instead of gone directly into sap green. Okay, make it very dense in the middle. And the only challenge is to break this line of the blocking in part. That literally doing it like that, and some over here too. Just filling out the space. Now I've added just a bit of water. I twiddle it again, just a bit. And let's come over here too and just drop that thing. Fan brush works very effectively for this. Okay, just like that to make it look irregular. So now I've just loaded my filbert brush with some green and white. Added in more of white. Barely touching it. I'm using a worn out filbert brush. That is, it's old used brush, and it's super effective to get textures like this, which enhances the painting. And this is also a universal brush. You can use this to paint almost anything, especially when you're painting landscapes. Okay, something like that over there. And let's go on to this one and create some individual parts. Divide this part, this tree for example, into many parts. Like for example, this is one part, then another one is this, then another one is this. So when you paint it, it looks natural and realistic. Okay, something over there. Okay. So now let's go ahead and add in some mist over here. Okay. I'm just barely loaded my brush with paint and I've wiped it off. Okay, something over there like that, just creating some sort of foggy stuff there. I've added in more of white and I've switched over to an angular brush and just mixing those colors together. Now I loaded some more paint on my angular brush, just indicating, and I'll penetrate into this tree so that when I go ahead and paint in the detailings of this tree, it'll look perfect. All around there, not so much at the top but basically at the bottom. And now it's some white and green. Let's go right over here and just drop in some light on the leaves, which is getting filtered maybe from the other leaves and trees. Let me add in some over here too. Now I've just taken in some black and we need to drop in the shadow of this tree. There's something over there like that. Maybe it's a very big tree. Okay, something like that. And with more or less the same color, just go over here, just drop in some highlights. Okay, and I'll make this well defined, the edge of this tree well defined. Okay, I've loaded in more of that color. I'm just indicating some lawn or grass over here. Same thing over here too, just reflecting them. And I'll just carry on with this. These are watercolors and they dry dull, so I have to go with some 3 to 4 coats of highlights. That's something like that over there. Now with very little paint on my same filbert brush, I'll just go ahead and barely touch it. Look at that, how open the bristles are. Then something like that. Then bring it like that over there, and I like some coming on the darker part of the reflections. Yeah. Now let's go ahead and drop in the final highlights to this tree. Let the bottom be fairly dark. Okay, something over there. And I've loaded in some black just to get that contrast between that mist behind and this tree. Okay, something like that.